Hey, what's going on, Who That Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast. And this is the State of the Saints podcast live on Facebook as well as YouTube. So thank you all very much for checking out this live. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. First off, I want to give a special shout out to everybody that was a part of the State of the Saints podcast live on last night. Man, we went about an hour and 30 minutes on YouTube and also took calls from members of the Who Dat Nation. And it was one of the highest viewed live streams that I ever done. You know, I never done, over 2,000 people on my live at one time. So for all those that chimed in, those that called in, that spoke from their hearts about the situation with Drew Brees, I want to say thank you all very much. The topic that I want to talk about today for a few minutes is, do you forgive Drew Brees? Okay, Drew Brees yesterday, if you're looking at this video on a Thursday, Drew Brees on a Wednesday did an interview, and he said some very, very heartbreaking comments that really hurt a lot of people. And it talked about, his stance on, police brutality and also with the American flag. And a lot of people considered his comments as insensitive. So now that we remove ourselves from that situation yesterday and embark on this new situation, which is his apology. Drew Brees did apologize for his comments, and I have it right in front of me right now. For those that did not see it on Instagram, you can check it out on Drew Brees' Instagram page. I'm going to read a little bit of it. You can feel free to check out the whole entire thing, at your own leisure. But Drew Brees says, I would like to apologize to my friends, teammates, the city of New Orleans, the black community, NFL community, and anyone I hurt with my comments yesterday. In speaking with some of you, it breaks my heart to know the pain that I caused. In an attempt to talk about respect, unity, solidarity, centered around the American flag and the national anthem, I made comments that were insensitive and completely missed the mark on the issues we are facing right now as a country. They lacked awareness and any type of compassion or empathy. Instead, those words have been divisive and hurtful and have misled people into believing that somehow I am the enemy. There's plenty more that you can read right there, but that's just a little snippet of some of the things that Drew Brees said, and it is available on Instagram and also on Twitter. Okay, so let me go ahead and break this down for some of those people out there. And I know this is the State of the Saints podcast, and me personally, I try to avoid having these type of conversations. Not that I'm afraid of it, but I feel like out of all the things that divides us, sports is the one thing that actually brings us together. It brings us together. No matter if you're black, you're white, you're Hispanic, you're Asian. One thing that brings us all together is sports. And for us in the Who Dat Nation, what brings us together is our love for the New Orleans Saints. So I try to avoid to talk about political things, but it's hard not to talk about politics when it knocks on your front door and you have to address it and you have to acknowledge it. Now, for all those people out there that are saying that they support Drew Brees, that's your prerogative. If you still back Drew Brees, if you accept his apology, if you think that Drew Brees didn't mean what he said, then that's your choice. But I'm only going to speak from my perspective, and then I'll read a couple members of the Who Dat Nation's comments about this. Drew Brees spoke from his heart on yesterday, okay? Drew Brees, that's exactly how he felt. Now, you can make the argument to say that one had absolutely nothing to do with the other, and we have to be very careful as a society not to get away from the task at hand. And the task at hand is the fact that we saw a man get murdered by the Minneapolis police. I'm talking about George Floyd. That is what we need to be focused on. Now, talking about the American flag, talking about taking a knee, that's like a whole different can of worms right there. One has absolutely nothing to do with the other. But I will say this to all my people out there. You cannot straddle the fence about certain issues anymore. You know, there is no gray area for this. Okay, people are looking for allies. People are looking for people that they can depend on when they are going through certain situations to have their backs. And this is a message for all those people out there. You might have a level of racism in your heart. You might have a level of bigotry in your heart. The time for racism and bigotry and white supremacy is over. It's over. It's done with. It's over and done with. People are not going to tolerate the nonsense. Now, you can get behind social media and be keyboard warriors and talk about racism and what you'll do if you see a black person and dropping N-bombs here and talking about stereotypes there. But it's over and done with. Nobody cares about your opinions and about your views that happened back in 1955 when you thought that America was great. There is a problem in this country that needs to be addressed, and just rather you get with it or you get lost. And you can be one of those people that just feels like this is about a flag. This is about, oh, America, you know what I'm saying? And it's an attack on America. It's not an attack on America because a flag does not represent military soldiers. And don't take it from me. My brother has did 3 tours in Iraq. You know what I'm saying? So for him to not have a problem with it. For several other military people who sounded off, who are you, who probably ain't never stepped foot in nobody's military, who never fought for freedom, who are you to say what it's all about? People are not listening, and people don't want to listen. And I'll tell you why they don't want to listen. The reason why people don't want to listen, because they don't want to look inside themselves. The worst and the worst thing that a person would like to do is to look at themselves in the mirror and say, I got a problem. So they rather just continuously avoid the situations and act as if these situations don't exist in the world. And it's everybody, it's people, it's black people complaining. And it's a bunch of young millennials who just don't really care about anything. That's what you want to say in your mind. But when somebody come out here and tell you what their protest was all about, and yet you still avoid what they're saying and start listening to the other person, that's like me telling you that it's raining outside. I'm looking out of the window, I'm seeing water falling from the sky, and somebody said, nah, it's not raining. Nah, it's not raining, man. No, it ain't raining. But I'm telling you, man, look outside. Look out the mirror. Look outside and look outside the window. It's raining. And you still yet saying, nah, it ain't raining, it ain't raining. That's how some of y'all looking right now. When somebody tell you what it is, that's what it is. So you can come up with your own little stick. You can keep on saying this. You can keep on talking about the military and all that kind of stuff there. But at the end of the day, that's not what it's all about. And for all these people talking about respect the flag, respect the flag. Are you respecting the flag when you wear the flag as shorts and you sit on your behind when you got the flag on? Or how about when you wear a flag as a bikini? Or how about if you wear a flag and wrap it around yourself as a towel? Are you respecting the flag then? Don't tell me that this is a symbolism about this. Don't tell me this is a symbolism about the military, because the military have absolutely nothing to do with this. And for all my people out there, I'm here to educate you all as well. Okay. This, for black people, the flag means something completely different. It does. While your family member and your ancestors and your great grandparents was coming back looking like heroes, we as African Americans coming back from the military, our great grandparents, our great great grandparents, when they came back from World War I and World War II, they couldn't even sit in a restaurant. They couldn't buy a house. They couldn't get land because they had all these different things that were going up against them. And let's not even act like, oh, man, well, people will say, man, that's back in the 40s. That's back in the 30s. Let's go and fast forward to the 60s. Let's talk about Vietnam. Vietnam, it was the same way. Black people came back and still was looked at, excuse my French, as niggas. So you can act like, oh, man, this is about sports. Let's keep it sports. Let's keep it sports. You cannot keep it sports. Not when these type of situations are knocking on your front door. They're knocking, folks. And we have to answer it, whether you want to answer it or not. And for all those people out there talking about he has a right to his opinion, what about all these people out here that I see when they're speaking about social justice and equality, y'all telling them to shut up? We can't choose sides, folks. We cannot choose sides and be like, just because we roll with somebody, just because we love somebody and appreciate them. And I appreciate Drew Brees. Man, I have much love for Drew Brees. Drew Brees has brought respect to the city of New Orleans. He has brought credibility to the Saints organization, an organization that has been sorry for years. He has brought credibility and helped people change the narrative of what they thought about with Saints football. But I don't care who you are. I don't care how great you are. I don't care how many yards you pass for. I don't care what your completion percentage is. There are people out here that are dying in the streets, and we don't need nobody looking out for their own interests. Nobody needs you to be thinking about walk-ons and Jimmy Johns at a time like this. Because at the end of the day, people need allies. People need these people to stand up for them. So, you cannot pick sides. Because like I said, I see a lot of people. If you're like a Republican or something like that and a Democrat say something, you're telling them to shut up. And vice versa. If you're a Democrat and a Republican say something, you're telling them to shut up. So you cannot choose sides. I don't want to hear people talking about, man, I forget what he said. He didn't say nothing bad. He have a right to his opinion. Because some of y'all not giving these people the respect that they deserve when they spit the real. When they spit their opinions. I ain't hearing that. I ain't seeing the same type of respect. I'm not seeing the same energy. You can respect a person all day. That you can say, I respect their right to say it, but are you respecting other people's opinions? And if you're not, then you're being a hypocrite right now. Let me tell y'all something that needs to be done. We need to get together and have conversations. Don't be a keyboard warrior and be spilling this nonsense. Have a conversation. Have the balls to have a conversation and talk to your fellow man. And don't let the news tell you the narrative about your fellow man. If you never interacted with a black person or black people, if you never interact with a white person, you're allowing television and mainstream media to tell you about these people, then you're doing things all wrong. Take it upon yourself to go out here and talk and have a conversation. And sometimes shut the hell up and allow a person to speak. Because sometimes we get so much in our feelings that we don't allow other people to speak. We don't allow them to address those things. And if you agree to disagree at the end of the day, then fine. At least you know where that person stands. But we're not getting anywhere without communication. And we're not getting anywhere where we're looking up at the sky and pretending like these situations don't exist, because they do. Drew Brees, he took the first step, folks. Who am I? I'm not God. I'm not Jesus Christ. I can't say, oh, I don't forgive him. Because, look, man, we done a lot of things in our lifetime. And if you're a people of faith, maybe some of you aren't. But if you're a person of faith, you know that you ask God for forgiveness. Even when that family member, that friend, that boyfriend, that girlfriend, that husband, that wife did not forgive you. So who are we to say, oh, man, what Drew Brees is? Now, do I agree with what he said? No. Am I upset at what he said? Absolutely. But who are we to judge people? Who are we to judge a man because of something that he said? Now, let's move on. Will this affect his legacy? I hate to say it. Yes, it will. It will affect Drew Brees' legacy. People will look at Drew Brees differently. I remember a couple months ago, I said, man, if Drew Brees was to run for governor or run for mayor of New Orleans, he might win in a landslide. I'm not so sure about that today. And I'm also concerned about the camaraderie, the locker room chemistry that was in the Saints locker room after games. Man, we laughed and we cheered and we smiled as they cheered and danced in the locker room during the motorbike and doing all these other different dances in the locker room. Sean Payton bringing out the brooms. I'm concerned about the chemistry of this team. And for some of you like, oh, man, it's going to be okay. Man, y'all really don't know what it's like right now to be black in America. Y'all really don't know how these situations are really affecting people. If you think that a person is going to be okay with what Drew Brees said, and they're not going to feel a little bit differently now that he said these things, you playing yourself. Like, you are playing yourself. And like I said, y'all may not want to hear this. Some of y'all may not want to hear it. But it's going to affect them. It's going to affect those guys, man. Over 60% of athletes, most likely in the locker room, are African Americans. And these guys, you can say, oh, man, these guys rich. And yeah, Michael Thomas got a 5-year, $100 million contract. But once upon a time, Michael Thomas, he grew up in poverty. Marshawn Lattimore might be getting $7-8 million off a 5th-year option. But once upon a time, Marshawn Lattimore was growing up in the hoods of Ohio. So for all those people out there that just think that everything going to be okay, it's not. You can change a person's situation, but that don't mean they forgot where they came from. Okay? Don't let things get misconstrued. I know what the narrative is when people, minorities, African American, black people, when they reach a certain level, they forget where they came from. Nah. Not everybody roll like that. Not everybody cut like that. So they are going to feel some type of way about Drew Brees. And you can say, you can put red, white, and blue emojis all up on here. You can talk about you support Drew Brees all you want to. You can pretend and play in a put your head in the sand, all you want to. But these situations exist, folks. They exist. And there's nothing you can do about it. And like I said to all these racists out here, I see some of these comments, man, very controversial to say the least. All these people out here that's closet racist, got bigotry in their hearts, feeling like, there's this level of, boldness that because I'm going to just say this real quick and probably ain't nobody paying attention to my comment, but I'm going to just let people know how I feel from behind my phone or from behind my computer. People seeing that. And it's time out for y'all cats. It's over with, man. For real. Y'all time is coming to an end. Over with. Done. Hating on somebody because of the color of their skin? Done. Dismissing people in these issues that's going on in the world? Done. Finished. Finito. So you can pretend you want to, and maybe you have yourself a congregation of good old boys. But at the end of the day, it's over for y'all. It's over. Straight up. Read some of these comments. TJ, you're doing an excellent job, sir. Thank you very much, Everett. Mike says protesting during the anthem is the same as protesting in Target and Walmart. Why ask for forgiveness when you're going to keep believing what you're believing? That's a good point. All men have to do is sit down and have a conversation. That's it. Conversation is the key. Brees has done more for the black community. Look at this. Drew Brees has done more for the black community in New Orleans than any one of those who criticize him have ever done. Actions speak greater than words. That is the most cop-out statement that I ever heard. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me give you an example. And I hate to go there, but imagine that you're married or you're in a relationship and their significant other gives you a gift every Friday. Okay, he or she gives you a gift every Friday. But all the other days of the week, they slapping you in the face. They beating you up. They dragging you across the floor. They're demeaning you. They're saying that you're ugly. They're saying that you're fat. They're saying that you're worthless. But on Friday, you're going to get that gift. Does that gift really matter at the end of the day? Somebody please tell me, no matter how much money Drew Brees is giving out, no matter how much he has done for the black community inside the city of New Orleans, if you do not understand, if you do not treat a person with respect to a point where they feel like they can rely on you and depend on you, it really does not matter. You can give $5 million. You can give $55 million. You can give $555 million. It really does not matter. And people need to stop using this cop-out because once again, Just because a person gives you a gift every Friday does not mean that they actually love you with everything that they have. They could just easily just be giving you a gift to not make themselves feel guilty. Or they want to give you a gift to say, I'm doing my part. But you're not doing your part if you're just giving something and don't do anything else afterwards. People need money, yeah, but people also need action. And I'll go back to the gift. If your significant other just gave you gift, but didn't give you love, didn't give you affection, didn't give you intimacy, would you still feel like you're being loved? 9 times out of 10, you won't. You need affection, you need love, you need intimacy, you need touch. And you need that person to be in touch with your feelings. I ain't telling nobody nothing they don't already know who hasn't been in a relationship or is in a relationship. Don't matter. Don't matter about the money. Don't matter about the philanthropy. What are you doing in the now? What are you doing? Are you standing by me? Are you standing by me, or are you just giving me the tools to go out there and fight? Are you fighting with me, or are you the gun shop? Huh? Are you just a gun shop? Are you just a gun shop that I can go to go arm myself for the war? Or are you saying, man, I'm about to lock up the gun shop, let's get all these guns and we about to go to war? What are you? And that's the question I'm pretty sure a lot of people in the Who Dat Nation and people around the country have for Drew Brees. I mean, are you for us or are you against us? Are you for this cause or are you not for this cause? That's what people want to know. I hate to signal out, but I feel like that's the mind frame people have. Money, gifts, and all that kind of stuff means absolutely squat. Nothing, nada, zip, zilch. Let's see. I can forgive almost anybody, but I never forget anything. Yeah, I hear that a lot. Communication is key. Cop out. I'm not racist. I love everybody. That's good to know. Shouts out to my boy Joseph, man. Joseph, I read your inbox that you sent out, man. But I did a video. That's the reason, because I know you asked me about my comments about Drew Brees, but I ended up doing a video on YouTube. So, man, shouts out to Joseph, man. Always asking questions. Trev, man, what's going on, brother? Let's see. Sean gonna take them on a field trip. Best believe. They're supposed to have. I'm pretty sure they had already. But they were supposed to have like a virtual meeting, and they're supposed to be talking about these issues. No, you're 100% wrong. I never heard someone be more wrong. I doubt it. But that you're entitled to your opinion because maybe you're one of those people that I'm talking about. You're in denial. You're in denial. You want to feel like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing wrong. Fine. Like, for real. Like, stay in your box. Don't just think that, you know what I'm saying, and wrap around these little feelings that you have in a cloak of the American flag and freedom and all that kind of stuff. All you want to, but you're going to get left behind. Straight up. You're going to be left behind. All these people that still closed-minded, don't want to open their mind, allowing this liberal media and all these other media outlets to form your opinion and not listening to the person, keep in mind, these people are making millions upon millions of dollars to warp your brains. So if you want to sit up here and not listen to the actual source and go listen to the source after the source who gave the source, fine. I have no problem with that. No problem at all. Keep on living in your world. Keep on living in a world of cluelessness and closed-mindedness. And go ahead. We need more like Rodgers. I'm not going to forgive. Hey, TJ, I just feel like Brees' first thought was his real thought, but the back drag had to calm him down. Yeah, I knew he was going to apologize. We all knew that. We've been through worse before, and this too shall pass. I don't know. I know I stay in South Carolina now. I know I've been here about 2.5 years, but I'm New Orleans through and through. Born and raised in New Orleans. Born and raised in the Ninth Ward in New Orleans. I went to Hansberry Elementary, Charles J. Colton on St. Claude. My freshman year of high school, I went to Frederick Douglass High School, graduated from Carver High School. There's nothing nobody can tell me about the city of New Orleans. I know about New Orleans. New Orleans does not forgive easily. They not one of these other places where we just let stuff go. We do not let stuff go like that. We do not let stuff go. We let people know, and we don't care what you done. Okay? It's rather you for us or you against us. That's the way New Orleans works. Always worked that way. They have always worked that way. Tamara says, liberal media. It is always liberal media fault. That's BS. I agree. The liberal media is trying to tear us apart. That's what they try to do. The liberal media is tearing us apart as people. They are drawing wedges, but this is the thing. They make so much money off this, okay? They make so much money off these stories. And I feel like when they think that we're trying to get together, that's when I feel like they start bringing stories like this to try to separate us. Because when I was looking at the protests, and I'm not buying into all that rioting and stuff like that, I don't condone it. But there were more peaceful protesters than there were rioting in the streets, but they were focusing on that. But I think with the protests, something that we didn't see that much in other protests is that you see people of different cultures coming together, trying to try to find solutions and try to fight for justice. And I think people saw that and they're like, wait a minute now. And that's when they started talking about the riots and stuff like that. And that's when, the wedge started drawing. Well, look, they saying black people doing this, but look at this white person coming up out there. Look at that Asian person coming up out this store. It's not just black people, and they try to divide us with that. They try to divide us. Okay, and I feel like it's another situation because now we're talking about Drew Brees and we're losing sight of what's really important, and that is George Floyd. George Floyd is the focal point, not Drew Brees. What Drew Brees talking about with the flag has absolutely nothing to do with police brutality. Okay, I mean, if you want to go into the Kaepernick situation, fine, but it has absolutely nothing to do with George Floyd. And I feel like if we're not careful, we're going to get lost in the sauce, okay, of liberal media. And I don't want that. That's why every day I say George Floyd is the key. That is what it is. That's what it's about. Michelle says we can protest other ways. Let me see. We can protest other ways other than kneeling for the flag. What about police academies? Maybe protest them. The flag has absolutely nothing to do with the knee. He's taken a knee because of police brutality. It has absolutely nothing to do with the flag. That is something that the media brought to everybody. A man in the military told Colin Kaepernick and suggested him to take a knee. Because if anybody knows anything about the military, taking a knee is a symbolism of respect. What is so hard for people to understand that? The flag is not representing the military. It does not. Okay? When these guys are fighting overseas, do you think, man, bro, I got to go out there this morning, man. I got to go hard for the flag. No. They talking about going hard for you and me. Lives. Actual lives. People living. That's breathing. That's what's important to them. They are defending freedom, not a flag. A flag, an American flag is being made right now in some sweatshop somewhere. But one of me comes around just once in a lifetime. One of you come around once in a lifetime. Who cares? Okay, I hate to say it like that. Nobody is thinking about no flag when they taking a knee. And for people to think that this is about a flag, I'm sorry, but you are misinformed. And for you to continuously talk about this and refuse to acknowledge what it's all about. It came from the dude that did it. It came from the guy who took the knee. And yet we're believing what somebody else said who wasn't even out there. Makes absolutely no sense. I go back to my first analogy. Me telling you that it's raining outside, I am looking out of the window, I am telling you that it's raining, and you still refuse to believe me. You don't even look out the window yourself. You just say, no, it's not raining. That's how y'all looking right now. The man told you what it was about. What more do you need? Do you not believe him? Do you not believe what he's saying? Do you think that is false or phony? Would you like to hear from a military man? Would you like to hear from people in the military? Countless people, countless accounts saying that they didn't feel disrespected by him taking a knee. Because the knee represents respect. The suggestion came from a man that was in the military. I don't know what else to say, man. I really don't. I really don't know. Go find out how much money Kaepernick made off of kneeling. Who cares? If the man did make money off taking a knee, well, he deserved it. You know why? Because the NFL blackballed the hell out of that dude and refused to sign him to a deal. So what you did was take this person's livelihood. So if this man making money and a company decides that they want to invest in his cause, he ain't making no money no other way. I mean, he can't make money from something that he did his entire life. So why can't the man make money? Why can't the man try to get money off a cause? What is he supposed to do? Starve? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. What is the man supposed? Is he supposed to starve? Is he supposed to starve to make y'all feel better? Come on, man. Come on. Knock it off. Right? Because when a player gets hurt on the field, what you'll do, you'll take a knee in respect. Yep. I mean, even in Pop Warner, coach tell us to take a knee. My son is in the military, but what does a flag have to do with our rights? Nothing. Absolutely nothing, Cindy. About the respect from the police with blacks, that's why Cap took a knee. Don't get offended because we don't all agree. Just pray and love each other. God bless you. Michelle, I'm not getting offended. One thing that bothers me is the fact I have no problem with listening to people. None at all. Like anybody that knows, look, I do this for a living. Like I'm at the radio station right now. One job that I have is not only just being on the air, but I get opportunity to interview people and listen to them, because that's important. I have to listen to people in order for me to, one, be able to transition into a question, or two, being able to know, maybe they gave me some information I didn't know, and maybe, I can kind of expound on the situation or ask them to elaborate on certain things. That's important to me. I have no problem with that. I have a problem when people are closed-minded and they refuse to accept something that is right in their face because they feel like they have to look in a mirror at themselves. The worst thing that a person wants to do to themselves is look in the mirror and take a deep look and say, what do I need to do to change about myself? And I ain't just talking about, man, I just want to keep this man. I just want to keep this woman. I need to look in the mirror and do some soul searching. Man, bump all that. I'm talking about really look in the mirror for a life-changing experience, something that you probably thought about your whole entire life, and you really had to change your mind and your thoughts about things. Case in point, back in the 1960s, when African Americans, black people, walking down the street and can just randomly get picked out of a crowd and get slapped upside the head by a person that was white, and nothing would happen to them. Nothing would happen to that white person. And from that person probably to go from, man, you can't do this no more. Why I can't do this no more? Because what you were doing was wrong. And you know it was wrong. But yeah, you want to sit up here and fight in the streets and hold up signs and say, no, 2468, we don't want to integrate. You know it ain't right. but you rather stick to your guns and be stubborn and don't want to open your mind up to a person's opinion and views. And another thing, like if a person is telling you what it is, I mean, case in point, Drew Brees, right? Now, some of us are upset with Drew Brees, right? Drew Brees is telling you what it is, man. I'm not for, police brutality and all that kind of stuff. My comments were insensitive. Oh, let's forgive Drew Brees because I believe what he's saying when he says that he is not racist. Or I don't believe that Drew Brees is an enemy of black people. Oh, we're quick to do that. But when Colin Kaepernick tells us what the knee is all about, all of a sudden, nah, that ain't it. That ain't it. Once again, we pick and choose our battles. We pick and choose the people that we love. We pick and choose them, and we ride with them because we have a personal and emotional interest in that person. And as long as we have that emotional interest in that person, we don't see anything wrong with them. We look past their imperfections. We go hard for that person. So for the people that's out here that's saying that Drew Brees, I believe what he's saying, Drew Brees said this, people, posting and tagging me about Drew Brees comments and stuff like that, have that same energy. When Colin Kaepernick has been blackballed out of the National Football League for about 5 years, have some energy and go ahead and send me the link when he said in the locker room when he was with the 49ers that when he took a knee, it was about police brutality. Give him the same type of respect that you're giving me or telling me to take to Drew Brees. Say about Drew Brees or we forgive him. Because if you're not, I hate to say it, you're being a hypocrite. You're being a hypocrite. That is hypocritical behavior right there. Because you want people to give Drew Brees the benefit of the doubt. But you don't want to give Colin Kaepernick the benefit of the doubt when he told you, just like Drew Brees is telling you, it ain't what it is. This is what it is. That's hypocritical behavior, folks. Straight up. Let's see. You said you don't condone rioting. Does that mean you are against the movement because you disagree with the methods of protest? Drew said he just didn't condone the methods of kneeling, so that makes him against the movement. First off, let me answer this first question, Justin. You said you don't condone rioting. Does that mean you are against the movement because you disagree with the method of the protest? First off, that's not the method of the protest. That's what the media is telling you what the method of the protest is. There's a difference between protests and riots, okay? Protest is what the people are doing to try to create change. Rioting is what those people are doing, tearing up stores and everything like that. You have people that are peaceful protesting, and you got people that are rioting. Let's separate that, okay? Let's go ahead and cut that down the middle real quick, okay? As far as with the Drew Brees situation, Drew Brees' method of kneeling, it's not the fact about his personal stance with kneeling, okay? What kneeling got to do with what happened in Minneapolis? What kneeling got to do with what happened to George Floyd? Absolutely nothing. It has absolutely nothing to do with that. And that's the reason why people are really upset at Drew Brees, because what the hell does kneeling have to do with what happened in Minneapolis? That's why people are upset. There's two different things. Just like rioting and protesting is two different things. Taking a knee and what happened in Minneapolis are two different things. And once again, Justin, I appreciate your comments, man. And that's an interesting way of putting things. I respect the hell out of what you just said because it makes sense. But what I'm saying is two different things. And the problem is when we try to conjoin all these things together, that's where the conflict come in between people, all different cultures, because everything just getting convoluted. It's like when you walk up into your room and you got clothes everywhere, man. You gotta sort those clothes out. You know what I'm saying? Or you're gonna start getting overwhelmed. You're gonna walk into a room with a whole bunch of clothes on the floor. You're gonna be like, man, I gotta hang all these clothes up, man. I gotta hang up the pants. I gotta hang up the shirts, man. I gotta see if this dirt, it starts to overwhelm you. But then when you like, okay, I'm gonna put the pants over here, I'm gonna put the shirts over here, I'm gonna put the dirty clothes over here, I'm gonna put this, like, that's when things start to work out. So these are like 4 different situations here. Rioting, I don't condone. Don't. Protesting, I'm for. Okay? I'm for that. Okay? 2 different situations. So that's the way I'm looking at it. But Justin, man, that is man. That's a good point, Justin. You know what I'm saying? Much love to Justin, man, because we want to make sure that we're focusing on the task at hand. Okay, that's all I'm saying. We have to learn how to differentiate all these different stories, because if we're not careful, we're going to take the bait. And I see us doing this. I see us doing it in the comments. I see us doing it on social media. We are drawing wedges, and we're basically going at each other's necks the way that I feel like society really wants us to be. They don't want us to be together. They don't want us to be on one accord. They don't want us to have consciousness. They don't want us to pick our fellow man up. They want every man for himself type mentality, and that's what they want us to roll with. Folks, don't take the bait. Don't take it. Rather you're black, rather you're white, rather you're Hispanic, rather you're Asian, whatever culture or background you come from, do not take the bait. Do not take this. Okay? This is something that can draw us away from each other. And it can also destroy what's going on when it comes to George Floyd. But TJ, he answered a question the interviewer asked of him. There's more to it than just simply saying, okay, it got nothing to do with the current situation we face. Why aren't we holding the media accountable for the interview? Man, Aaron, if anybody holds the media accountable, it's me. I mean, I'm just telling you, like, bro, I'm not even for the media. I don't even like really watching the news like that, because, look, I know how it is. Like, I mean, from going to broadcasting school, from going to college, studying communications, I know about the art of communications. And I know the way that people can dress up different things to make people feel certain type of ways about things. You know, like, that's what these guys are getting paid for, millions upon millions of dollars. That's what the Anderson Coopers and the Sean Hannitys of the world, these what these guys are getting paid for, to try to get emotion out of us, man, in order for us to react. And we're not even knowing, but we're becoming puppets on a string, because we are not going out there and looking at our neighbor that we've known for years, that we know that loves and supports the black community, or you know what I'm saying, or vice versa. We're not looking at those people, man. And that's why I'm telling you all today, if you ain't listening to nothing that I'm saying, if you're saying, man, stick to sports, if you're saying, man, this channel going to hell, or whatever you want to say, if you don't listen to nothing that I say, listen to this. Don't allow the media or outside forces to warp your brain and not allow you to go out here and find out from the source. Go out here and interact with people outside of your race. Don't allow liberal media to tell you about a person. You'll miss out on some great people because you think you got this whole idea about what the black race is about, or what you think what the white race is about. We're in this together. Period, man. Period. And it's going to start with communication. And it's going to get ugly before it gets beautiful. It's going to get ugly, man. You ever had a fight with your significant other? You ever had a fight with them? And y'all going at it, man. Y'all yelling, man, you ain't washing the dishes. Well, you ain't folding the clothes. Well, how come every time I come home you don't want to watch what I want to watch? It gets ugly before it gets beautiful. Y'all have to have that conversation. You sit down, baby, you know what? I'm sorry I could have washed them dishes. Baby, I'm sorry, you know what? You was at home. You know, you got home before me. You know, I mean, I got home before you. You know, I could have cooked something. You know, like, it gets ugly before it gets beautiful. But I love everybody in the Who Dat Nation, man. I love everybody in the Who Dat Nation. All I'm just asking you all to do is go out there and find out for yourself. Go out there and find out for yourself. You know, don't let nobody tell you about the cheesecake. Don't let nobody tell you how good the cheesecake is. Go out there and find out for yourself. Okay? Go out there and get a bite of the cheesecake. Don't go out there and be like, man, somebody told me the cheesecake was nasty, man. They said it wasn't good. Go out there and taste the cheesecake for yourself. Go out there and find out from the source. Go out there and learn about people outside of your race, and don't be like, oh man, this person racist or this person a bigot. You're missing out on some great people. You're missing out on some great people. But Drew Brees, do I forgive him? Do I forgive Drew Brees? The answer to that question is, who am I to not forgive anybody? Because like I said, man, you know, maybe it's just the religious background, me growing up in the church or whatever. And I'm not trying to cop out by saying that I grew up in church, but I just know that I've done some things in my lifetime that deserve forgiveness. You know, I done hurt some people in my lifetime. I done left, some burning bridges, due to some of the actions that I did. And I needed to ask God for forgiveness. And, am I going to forget what he said? No. Am I going to have a little thought in the back of my mind from now on? Absolutely. But for me to walk around here and say F Drew Brees or Drew Brees ain't SHIT, or I can't do it. I can't do it, man. You know what I'm saying? Because, who am I, to say that? But, at the end of the day, I stand for all those people out there that are protesting, that are marching in these streets for equality. Because even though I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast, I'm a black man. Before I was the State of the Saints host, I was black. Before I had a college degree, I was black. Before, I even knew what a New Orleans Saints organization was, I was black. And I'm proud to be. And I'm pretty sure with your culture, you're proud to be white or you're proud to be Asian. But I'm just tired of watching these situations keep occurring over and over again. It's hurtful. It breaks my heart. It really does. And if you did not watch 8 minutes and 46 seconds of that video, and a part of you didn't feel a certain level of hurt and pain, man, might need to check yourself on that. But thank y'all very much for your comments. If you have any concerns, if you want to voice your opinion, you can do it. You can still comment down below at the end of this video. You can email me at stateofthesaints@gmail.com, or you can inbox me right here on the State of the Saints podcast on Facebook or on YouTube if you're watching on YouTube. So thank you all very much. Thank you for your time. Hopefully, we can learn and grow together and still say who that in unison. Black, white, Asian, Hispanic. We can all say that together because we're all part of the same race, and it's called the human race. And we're all trying to get to the finish line. But let's make sure when we get to the finish line, we get there together. It's yours truly, TJ Jones. And all I got to say is, who that?